Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're not just racing, we're breaking the game. Here are some of the craziest skips and shortcuts players have found in Mario Kart World. But before we dive in, we publish new content all week long. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road is iconic for its dizzying pace and multiple paths, and this version doesn't actually have too many skips you can do. But there's two that are pretty easily overlooked, and one of them is right at the start at the branching sections. When you reach the split, you should pick the path on the right, and right before they come back together, there's a jump you can make to the other one. It only shaves off a little time, but that can make all the difference. There's also an easy-to-miss ramp that you can reach with a mushroom in Lap 2's water section. Simply boost through the grass on your left side. Shy Guy Bazaar. Did you know that you can get through pretty much the entire Shy Guy Bazaar race without touching the ground? There are a ton of alternate routes, but the most meaningful skip is in the market. As you approach the section, stick to your left to get on the rail, which will allow you to access the rooftops and cut an enormous amount of time. You can carry this on through almost the entire track, going from rail to rail. But let's take it a step further. Right at the start of the race, there's actually a rail to your right, which will take you to a hidden top section of the map, which eventually allows you to combo onto that market rail or just bypass it. Crazy. Moo Moo Meadows. Now, Moo Moo Meadows seems fairly bare on the surface. As you might have guessed, you can use mushrooms to boost through the otherwise pretty limiting grass on the sides. But for the real hidden stuff, you can actually use this fence and cow on the left during the first turn to gain some speed. There's also a huge skip you can do if you have a mushroom. On the second wide corner, you can boost across the entire thing right next to this tree. It's pretty clear we were meant to based on the shape of the rail next to it too, and it saves a ton of time. Cheap Cheap Falls. Cheap Cheap Falls deceives you into thinking that you're limited to a linear path down the middle for most of the stage, but actually there's multiple easy-to-miss paths off to the side. Already in the second turn, you might feel inclined to boost across the sand on the side to save some time, but you can actually take it a step further and ride up the wall. There's also a hidden path on the left side of the waterfall, accessible by jumping up onto the logs sticking out. Using this path, you can wall ride up to a relatively hidden rail, taking you around to the last corner of the stage and avoiding almost the entire river section. DK Pass. Moving on to DK Pass, we've got some shortcuts that let you skip turns that are tricky when crowded with other racers. Let's start with the most known one, the pole shortcut. Early on, when the paths start to wind, you can jump off the edge at one of the turns and trick off of the pole to get across. But the craziest one is the tree skip right after. During this section, stick to the left of the incoming ramp, do a trick onto the wall, then more tricks through the trees to skip a massive portion of the track. It's a bit hard to pull off, but you'll get through way faster once you get the timing down. Wario Stadium. Wario Stadium has some of the hardest trick sections you can do, but when done right, you'll barely spend any time next to your rival racers. Immediately, you want to trick off the ground towards the left wall, up to the rail, skipping that first turn. Then, do the same thing towards the right wall, again up to a rail. This eventually flings you over another turn to a rail on the opposite side. Afterwards, dropping down keeps you on the ground only briefly for the section with a couple of humps in the road, but after turning right towards several jumps, you can make it onto the left wall and up to another rail, which lets you shave off a bit more time. The whole track is surrounded by walls and rails. When you figure out how to use them, you'll be an expert on the course. Acorn Heights. In Acorn Heights, there's another difficult trick sequence, and it comes very quickly. After the gliding section, try to land on the giant leaf to the left. You want to trick off of it onto the left side vine, then to the wall next to you, then back to the vine, and onto another giant leaf. Right after this, there's a little cave with boxes tucked away on the left that you can boost through. Linking this all together leads to insane speed momentum. Even if you don't have a mushroom for the cave, it's good practice to hug that left area and do these tricks, since it's the fastest way to get through this part of the track. Wario Shipyard. There's a lot of minor shortcuts you can take in Wario Shipyard. After the first turn, you can veer to either side after the ramp and trick off of the palm trees sticking out of the walls. After exiting the tunnel, there's a rail on the left wall you can jump to, which leads to a string of tricks you can perform using another palm tree, and a mast stuck in the sand, letting you skip a huge portion of the race. Shortly after this, you'll reach the ship with a cannon at the end, and you may have noticed there's a couple of ways to get on top of it. Doing so leads to several alternate trick paths. It may not necessarily be faster than going through the cannon trying to land on the rails, but it's probably less congested with other racers. Bowser's Castle. Bowser's Castle has a huge shortcut that became pretty famous once players figured it out. Immediately as you enter the castle, you'll be faced with two branching paths. If you take the one to the right, be sure to build up speed with drifting boosts as you go. At the hallway's exit, you can then fling yourself over a huge lava pool that you're meant to take a path around. If you're really good, you can build up more speed by jumping between the walls beforehand. Obviously, this is a pretty tricky one to pull off. But even if you fall into the lava, it takes about as much time for Lakitu to rescue you as it would if you took the normal path. Great Question Block Ruins. Heading over to the mysterious Great Question Block Ruins, you've got one of the craziest stunts possible in the game. About halfway through the stage, you'll come across these traffic cones which seem to lead out of bounds. However, you can trick off of the outside of this giant ring and onto the wall on the left. You can then wall ride up and trick off of the next ring to your right to make it across. No doubt an insane flex to pull off, and definitely one of the most thrilling routes you can take in the entire game. If you can do this shortcut, onlookers are sure to be jealous. And there you have it. So far, these are some of the best hidden shortcuts in Mario Kart World. But do you know of any others that we missed? Let us know about them in the comments.